All right, what is up, everyone? Welcome to our 12th time hanging out. Thank you guys for joining us. As always, we have we encourage anyone who wants to jump on. You got the QR code up there, at least for a while, in the um, on the top right of the stream, and then I'm going to put the link over in the chat so that you can just join on. You can click on that link, and it would bring you to the stream, and you could jump on the video and hang out if you want to hang out. Of course, if you don't want to jump on video, we're happy to have you in the chat, so you can see kind of we're displaying the chat a little differently this week to try something out. Sorry, Steve, that kind of comes at your expense this time, but we could always change things up in the future. But yeah, I'm Joey, and we're here with Adam and Tim and Steve. Tim, thanks for jumping back on. I know it's been a couple weeks, but thanks for hanging out again. And we are gonna spend today talking about some stories of recent pickups, share some recent significant pickups we've had. We talked last week about the different buying platforms, so we're going to get a little bit in depth about one of them, CardHobby, which may or may not be familiar to people. It was pretty unfamiliar to me and still kind of is, so I'm excited to talk about that, as well as an unfamiliar, I don't want to say an unfamiliar set, a set I think we're all familiar with, which is 1948 Bowman, but something that I think I personally still have a lot to learn about, so I'm excited to talk about that. And so thanks for hanging out and looking forward to talking cards. So Steve, if you want to start us off, I know you have a recent pickup that you want to share the story of. So go ahead and tell us about what you got.
Thanks, Joe. And you don't have to apologize. I mean, I know it's that we get very little feedback and engagement, but all the feedback has been that everyone's sick of looking at my face. So I know exactly what you're doing here. We're going to just mute me out. Everybody can read the comments.
Yeah. Just keep scooting over a little bit.
Yeah, I can rotate over. There we go. How's that angle? Is that better?
Perfect.
Yeah. So I got, maybe we should rename this little hangout time Silhouette Fans plus Adam, because a couple of these cards are going to be. I shared a Silhouette card last week. I got a couple more this week, but pretty significant pickup. So I've mentioned several times that I super collect Jay Crowder. I'm actually wearing a player hoodie right now. I don't have jerseys like Ryan does, but I got a player hoodie. And I picked up a Silhouette out of 2 Logo Man card, and I'll tell the story of the auction a little bit, because I definitely did mental gymnastics in my head on whether or not I'd pay up for this. So this has the 75th anniversary Logo Man in it, which is like a plasticky diamond Logo Man. And I think it's really interesting that Panini's kind of gone in on using those Logo Men. I've seen them in many, many sets, since the 75th anniversary, where you compare that to the 50th anniversary, where Adam, I believe there's a rookie year Antoine Walker gold Logo Man floating around in the internet out there. And there's a couple I've seen, I think Dennis Rodman maybe out there, but obviously relic cards weren't around during the 50th anniversary. So they just happened to have been in jerseys that were picked up after time. So to be able to highlight the 75th anniversary was pretty cool. So for anybody that is listening and not watching, this is the Silhouette Threads insert set, which has, the second I saw it, you can tell by the shape of the cutout window that it was made just for, in my opinion, it was going to be made just for Logo Man cards, and for them to kind of share some Logo Man cards over to unload them, I guess I should say. When I was searching Crowder cards, I saw that they had an out of 5 parallel from the thread set that used the Nike logo from that, right? So if you guys remember, they used on the 75th anniversary, they had the diamond Logo Man, the diamond Nike swoosh. So once I saw that, I knew that this Logo Man was going to be out there somewhere. I was very fortunate to have been able to sell a 2012-13 PSA 10 Jay Crowder Gold Prism rookie that was a duplicate for me for what I consider to be a silly amount of money. Those things have sort of pumped up again, and I got an offer significantly higher than any offer I've had. So I sold that a few months ago, stashed it aside, hoping to pick something up like this. So I'll just say, because it's public, it's on eBay. If anybody actually cares to laugh at me for what I paid for a Jay Crowder card, I bid my max bid was $752.99. So I always bid on a card I really want in an odd increment. So I won't bid just $750, and I always end the cents in a jersey number. And I I was at basketball one night and I took a break from it and I went and sat on the bench and I sniped it with 2 seconds to go and I won it for exactly my max bid. So I got some encouragement from friends. This was one of those cards that a lot of people had sent me, told me about. People were talking to me about it. Ryan and Kyle and a few other guys in some group chats, man, got sick of me probably waxing and waning on what I do about it because I don't know how you guys feel about the Logo Man. I don't love Logo Man patches. I think what you get for what they cost is a little outside my comfort zone. So, but this should be Crowder's last big card. I happen to have his NTRPA 101, which is a Logo Man, so I kind of have bookends on that collection. And honestly, if it wasn't for the 75th anniversary aspect of it, I probably wouldn't have paid up for it. But that diamond piece is pretty cool. So just want to share that little story, maybe go a little bit more in depth because I'm sure other people can relate to that. How do you value a card? What do you decide it's worth? Do you have the funds? How do you come up with them, etc.? So this is definitely one of those cards that I had to put some thought into. It wasn't just a smash the bin at my comfort level type of card.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, it seems like I don't know, given the state of Logo Men these days, it seems like a pretty reasonable price for that. And I mean, obviously it's all relative, but I agree with you about your sentiment on Logo Mans. I think I just said Logo Mans instead of men. I don't know which one it is, but I think that I feel the same, that the value for what you get tends to be on the lower side. Uh, I also think personally that aesthetically, I just like a nice chunky patch with multiple breaks and colors. But
I agree with you on that. Yeah.
I I hear you on everything you were saying.
So nice when we always agree with such with compatible.
As someone who's never owned a Logo Man, I have to agree they just suck and they're not worth having. So all in.
If Adam doesn't have one, then he really don't
Right.
need them. Adam just goes out and buys the full gamer jerseys instead.
Which is probably cheaper.
It can be. I mean,
Yeah.
it can. Do you have any NFL shields, Adam?
Yeah, I have quite a few.
I thought so. Okay.
Yeah, I've sold many just because the pricing of them has gotten ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like I had a Dalton Green Bengals dual shield that I bought for like $150 and sold for $1,500. So I mean, just people pay stupid money for those, the same they do for NBA Logo Man. But I feel like the NBA Logo Man have always been kind of a notch above the NFL Shield market. So where back in the day, I could buy a Chad Johnson for $100. It was always going to be 500 or 1,000 for a comparable NBA player.
Yeah.
Just wanted to take a second to say what's up to Kyle and Mike, Caleb, Ryan hanging out with us, even though he's not here today. So thanks for hanging out and chatting us up. Did anyone else have a card story from a recent pickup or mail day that you guys wanted to share?
I'll go if Adam doesn't have one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Or if someone else wants to go before me.
I can go real quick and then you can finish this off. So, I think I mentioned several weeks ago that there was a card that I'd been looking for a long time. And welcome, Mike. Welcome to the stage. Thanks for jumping on video. But yeah, I mentioned a while back that there was a card I was looking for. It was the 93-94 Hoops David Robinson 5-year anniversary or 5 years commemoration of his rookie card autograph. And so I think I mentioned, like, oftentimes whenever I saw a listing, I would send one to Frisbee Steve, and I would just send it to him and be like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? And most of them are so bad. Most of them out there are just so bad. They're fakes. A lot of them are really bad fakes. Even graded ones are sometimes bad fakes. So I ended up seeing one, I think like a couple hours before the auction. I sent it to him and he didn't get a chance to get back to me. And then I ended up buying it. And afterwards he was like, there was something about it. I'll show it to you guys. So it was this one. This is the copy. It looks like this. He was like, something about it, the D, like the way that the D in the D Robinson looks like he's not totally confident in it. And so he said, he would stay away from it. I ended up getting it because I had already purchased it. And he's like, I'm not sure if it's a fake. If it's a fake, it's a really good fake. But probably a week later, maybe a week and a half later, he sent me one that was listed for a buy it now for like $50. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy it. So this is the other one that I just ended up buying. I'm at least more confident in the autograph because he's more confident in the autograph. I think they both look pretty good. I'll hold them both up, but
looks great.
93, 94. Like the pen used is pretty good. Like it's the thin black Sharpie. There are some distinctive parts about the auto, like the R not touching that little space at the top of the R, and then like the little spaces and the D, making it, I think, a little more like if the fake is fake, it's a good fake because those are the consistent autographs that you'll see on this card. But I don't know. I felt like it was a small price to pay to have a little more confidence in the autograph. And I don't know. I mean, I guess you guys can share your thoughts on this. Like, I don't know. I definitely don't necessarily want to keep both of them, but I also wouldn't want to move a card that's fake. I don't know that it's fake, but the first one, I'm not sure I feel like I'd feel comfortable moving it because to me, it actually looks pretty good. The autos look very similar. So I don't know, but I thought it's been a long time coming. I've been bothering Steve for probably a year or two, if not more, about that card. And I'm happy to have one that gets his stamp of approval because he's the Admiral expert out there. So
I definitely wouldn't want to speak over Steve in that one because I'm sure he knows better than me. But what it looked like to me was he just kind of quickly missed the back line of D on the one that he's questionable about and moved it forward to where it just is misaligned, where if you move that line back, it almost looks identical to the other one that you have.
Yeah, that's kind of what I felt too, actually, to be honest. And that's why when I was analyzing the autographs and comparing it to the ones that he had felt looked good before, I felt like that was the only thing. So, yeah, I mean, I could definitely ask him more information. I think at the time I was just kind of like, dang it, I can't believe I got one that he didn't approve. But definitely I'd want to study it a little more and ask him for more details on why he feels like it might be off. But yeah, it's interesting that two of them came up within a couple weeks of each other that at least look good, if not are good.
Is there an authenticator that would be trusted to look at like slabbed authenticated versions of the card that you can compare to? I don't know the answer to that, but is there a brand that typically is pretty accurate with the authentication of the Admiral's autograph?
It's a good question. I mean, I've definitely seen a bunch in Beckett and PSA slabs that Steve was pretty confident were fake, and I mean, historically, he's mentioned that it's one that gets authenticated a lot and is often faked. And then on top of that, just based on the pen usage and the placement and stuff like that, there are a lot that are authentic David Robinson autographs that were not pack pulled. So there's just a lot kind of going on there. So, but yeah, I think that the one that I've seen most consistently is SGC. The most common one that I've seen to be authentic that are actual legit autos, at least based on what we've seen, was SGC.
It's so hard with those like early to mid 90s, autographed cards without much of a hallmark, distinguishable, feature of the card to separate it from a non-autographed version. So tough to kind of figure that out. It's unfortunate. Because those are really, what a cool card. That card, the 1989 version is basically what got me into basketball cards. When I was 14 years old, those packs had come out, and they were more massively produced and more readily available in just a lot of places that weren't necessarily card shops. So you go to your local grocery store, and they actually did have hoops packs located there, as opposed to like baseball, which was everywhere, and Flair basketball, which was almost like nowhere, right? So it was definitely a gateway for me. That card is, and I've gone back and forth trying to find just like the original. Should I get a PSA copy or something just to have I haven't pulled the trigger. There's so many of them, so it's not like it's a huge rush. But what a cool card.
Yeah, great pickup, Joey. And Mike just brought up buying cards at grocery stores. It's a good thing Ryan's not here because that's a huge trigger for him because he gets in fights with people online when he says it's a junk wax error and people say that cards aren't available in grocery stores. It's a big trigger point for Ryan, so we'd have to listen to him if he was here. You're going to cause me to lose sleep tonight because I've got a copy of that card and I'm going to be overanalyzing it now to see if it's authentic. I did way too much homework on getting an authentic, what I believe was a true redemption pack pulled bird magic from that set because that one is not only massive. The problem that Mike's bringing up for people that maybe listen to this and don't know is they're essentially base cards that were sent to the players to have signed. So you can pull the exact same card as a 5-cent base card, and in the case of the bird magic, it was like a subset card. And then they were just like imprinted with literally just imprinted, not even any like serial number or any hologram or anything. And the things they used to imprint them, I'm sure could easily be faked with a 3D printer these days. And they were also sold to the public during the Flair auction when they went out of business. So they are very, very tough to distinguish, the reals. And it's not even that all of them, some of them aren't even fake. Some of them, like Bird and Magic still signed. People will still bring them to shows and have them signed, and then sell them and those sell for pennies compared to the authentic ones that were actually pack pulled redemption. So love that set. Love the David's Best insert set from that period. Love the gold like the gold foil 5th year anniversaries. Like that was my heyday of collecting. And Mike, I'm with you. That's just like, the Robinson rookie card, the original one, that's really what opened up the basketball collection too. It wasn't necessarily the Magic and then the Grant Hill rookies. It really was David Robinson and then into Larry Johnson, and then like that's really what opened things up. And then Shaq and Grant Hill took it to the next level in the '90s. So great card, Joe. Nice pickup.
Steve, do you remember those mid '90s, like early '93ish, '92? Some of those hoops cards with the Magic Johnson, like all rookie team.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about, you can find them now very easily, but in 1992 or 1993 for penny, like those cards were the hottest inserts that you could probably pull during that time.
I was going to retire because I traded a couple Grant Hill rookies for the Jason Kidd Magic's all rookie team foil parallel. I mean, that had like a little 5X next to it in the Beckett magazine back in the day. I thought for sure that was going to be. And now they're $2, probably in a PSA 10 slab.
And Ryan is still with us, making comments about the cards in the grocery stores.
He's probably on the hobby boards right now, ranting to a few people about the overproduction of cards right now. His kid's going to come out from piano lessons and wonder why his dad's like yelling at a social media feed. Anybody else have any pickups that they want to share?
Yeah, Tim, you were going to share. I cut you off earlier. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I've been getting some mail this week, but what I'm most excited about is the Topps box that I ripped. 25, 26 Topps. I got it. I was the first one in the store that morning. Took a day off, and it ended up working out. I got a numbered Cooper flag. I don't know if you can see that number, but I don't know if you'd call it a color match, but it's definitely more blue than the normal foils that I've seen of this insert rise to stardom. So I was really, really happy with my set. And I also to dive into Topps a little further. I also they come with for those not familiar with recent Topps sets, like in baseball, if you buy a box, they give you one kind of like a hobby silver pack on top of all the 24 packs, or if you get a hobby, they give you 2.
Yeah, those look really good.
Yeah, I like them. They're calling them Chrome Mojo in basketball now. So here's a Cooper I happen to pull from that. These aren't numbered, but they look fantastic. So they have, I think, the 80-81 design. They're throwing it back. This is 45 years anniversary. So I think these look terrific. I had another Igor Dioman. So I think these are an exciting card to look for when you're ripping Topps. I will say that there's definitely some it's easy to knock the base cards. Like this is for example, a Jeremy Fears. This is what a base card's looking like. So I don't really like when the words are on the side like that. Looks kind of cheap. It's a copy of course, the Topps baseball this year. But I also just want to express that this top set is kind of like hoops. It's the most affordable set, and it's the one that's supposed to be, at within reach for kids, especially. And the higher end sets, the legacy brands, they're going to come, and I think that's when we can truly judge Fanatics takeover of Topps. But for now, I think that there's a lot of good number cards to get in these sets, and then there's definitely some on card autos which you could pull. I didn't get one, but I've seen plenty of people pull them. So I think that there are a lot of chases for people looking for bigger fish, but I do think that they did a good job on this first set. I'm not going to knock the base too much. So have any of you ripped any or gotten any singles?
I have not. That insert, I mean, that sounds like a great break. That insert kind of reminds me of Hoops, the Rise to Stardom, when it looks a lot like Hoops, and that's a great hit out of one box. So no, I mean, I personally think that yeah, there was a lot of, I don't know if you follow baseball and baseball cards, but there were definitely a lot of negative response, I think, to that base design this year. I feel like it would be get a lot more love if the pictures were just zoomed out a little bit. I don't know. That was my first response when I saw
I think
them.
so too.
Yeah. But I agree. I love those silver pack cards. And I don't know if it's the same in basketball, but in baseball, the autos look great on those silver pack cards, even though they're sticker autos. Like they're really affordable. There's a big following in baseball with those silver pack cards. It'll be interesting to see if that happens with basketball, but yeah, really good looking cards. Actually, I really like the ones that you shared.
Yeah, I got really lucky. Two nice Coopers. Everyone's gonna get the base if you get a box. But I mean, the two nice Coopers, the silver, and then the number one. I couldn't ask for much more. I was super excited to collect him this year. So that's a nice start.
I think Fanatics is pretty lucky because there's been a pretty strong showing of the rookie class. The first call it 4 or 5 games of the season. Between Edgecombe and of course, Flag's going to always be a popular hit, but yeah, there's a lot of upside, to this particular draft, where it could be, really good thing for Topps and Fanatics moving forward.
For sure. I totally agree. And yeah, you're right. Edgecombe. I mean, we kind of knew he was going to be good, but he's playing with a poise. Guys are meeting him at his pace. He's not nervous. He just looks smooth out there, confident. He's really exciting and kind of stealing a little bit of Cooper's thunder right now, even though Cooper has looked good in spurts. But I think you're absolutely right. It's a strong rookie class, but also I actually bought a second hobby jumbo, and I'm keeping it sealed because, this set more than any other is the first one that Fanatics is releasing. And I think with Cooper and, the strong rookie class, this is a set where I think it would be very wise to keep one sealed if you can get your hands on a second, and keep it down the line because, it's going to be the first set that Fanatics takes over forever. And I think it's going to be one that's remembered.
My only challenge to that is just for people to keep in mind that this stuff is, and I love it, but it's being printed to the moon. So it's going to be a long time before it's not available at hobby prices. And then I'd also ask, what was the first product Panini released?
That's a good point. It's not Prism. What was it? It was something.
It would have been a 2000. I don't know the answer to that question. It would have been one of the 2009, 2010 products, and it was a very chased rookie class. And I'm sure if you went on now, the cards are expensive, but that's because it would have some of those rookies in there. But it's not like people are out collecting any of the 09, 10 stuff because it was the debut of Panini, and I don't even know that people where flagship is different though, and I'm just playing devil's advocate just for the point of conversation because I definitely see the nostalgia of grabbing a box of this and keeping it on your shelf. I think that's people are really excited to have Topps back, but I don't know that it'll be interesting to see. The main thing that I just wanted to bring up though is that it's printed to the moon, which again I love. Like I think it should be. I think a flagship product should be available throughout the basketball season for people to go and get. Yeah, Kyle brings up that it might have been just Panini did have for a couple of years. They had Panini. They just called it Panini, and they used the Knights Lance logo on it. So it definitely would have been one of those.
Yeah, I do think that was it. And Tim, did you pick up that off of Top's website? Because I was told recently, like, yeah, things are crazy on resale right now, but when Top's first put the boxes up for pre-sale, they were actually reasonably priced, around like $100 or $110. I don't know, something like that.
You're talking about the regular hobby box?
Yeah, or I don't know, whatever box you
I got the
opened.
hobby jumbo. The price was a little bit more than I thought. It ended up being, I think, like $470 with tax, something along those lines. So it was a little steep, but I think it was an exciting set, and the rookies were getting people excited. Got me excited anyway.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was a little bit pricey.
And
But
was
for a
that
set.
at Top's, like off their website when they did
Oh,
the pre-sale?
I went to a store. I was the first person at my local store, Grand Slam Collectibles on Long Island.
And Tim, I know I'm just curious about, and we don't need to do a whole review, but I believe the standard hobby is not a guaranteed auto. Jumbo has at least one guaranteed auto per box. Were there any other notable differences that you know about between the two releases if people are at shops, getting some?
I think the hobby jumbo comes with one auto and one guaranteed game year worn patch.
Okay.
Which is nice, because I think in hobby jumbo for baseball in the past, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe this year it changed, but I had been collecting them for years and always buying hobby jumbos, and I think it was one guaranteed auto. I don't know if they included the patch as well, so that was a nice little addition compared to baseball. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good set.
So a couple more guaranteed hits, and I'm sure there's some sort of jumbo only parallels because there's a million parallels. But I did,
and I got
the
maybe
auto
like
difference.
5 or 6 numbered cards too, which was nice.
That's good.
Yeah,
good.
So there's definitely a lot of toilet paper cards, so that a lot of really very reprinted, or excuse me, highly printed cards. But then they mix in some numbered stuff and some colored refractors, and yeah, there's a good chance you can get some color and some numbered cards in the silver packs as well. Excuse me, Chrome Mojo. So nice. I think that there's some good chases.
Very cool.
Nice. Just some stuff from the chat. So Gary mentioned he's glad that they're back to releasing sets at the start of the season. I thought that was really cool too. I like that it wasn't like hoops that what in the past couple of years has been November or something when it's come out, mid-November. So it's cool that right when the season starts, we get hoops coming, Topps flagship coming out, which is really cool. Yeah, do you want?
Can I say one other thing? I generally my review is good. I have to say one thing I'm very not happy with the first Fanatic set. This is, again, the one that's supposed to be the most in reach for kids, and they should be learning from the back of basketball cards like we did in the 80s and 90s. Where are the stats? Is it costing them money to put career stats up there? I mean, we had, like 20 years of stats on Vlade Divac's card when he was on the Lakers. Like, why not have stats? Has there ever been like a story that Topps or Panini or Fanatics has said why they don't do that?
Time is money.
Come on. I mean, how hard can it be? I mean, we got AI now, right? Like,
yeah, seriously.
Like, why not? Like, kids need to be learning about the history, and I think that's something that really gripped me, no matter whether it was baseball or basketball growing up. And I think, kids are going to have to dig on the internet to find it now, which maybe some will, but to have it on the back of the card, I think is big for kids. And the fact that they don't have it, it's sad.
Yeah, agreed. I completely agree with that. Ryan did mention this before, but the pictures leave a little to be desired in the sense of there's a lot of non-action shots. And Caleb brings up an interesting point.
Time out, Joey. So Ryan says that he wants fewer dribbling or passing photos, but his YouTube avatar is Gallo holding a basketball in a basketball card. So let's just call it the hypocrisy right there for that one. All right, sorry to interrupt. Continue.
But I do think, to his point, I mean, one of the distinctive things about Topps, especially before they lost the license in 2009, was that their flagship set had good photography. So it's kind of disappointing to see that they're going the way of now, like Panini, where only the photo focused sets will have great photography, like Photogenic or Stadium Club or whatever. So yeah, it's an interesting point. Caleb was talking about, and this might be something to talk about another time, is he was asking whether we should save the nice photos for really short printed or variation cards or whatever. So just some stuff to think about. But yeah, anyway.
Also, one other thing before we move on from Topps, before we move on from tops, Steve asked before about if there is anything else like other chases in these hobby jumbos. Now, this could be in either a normal hobby or a hobby jumbo, but one thing that for people to look out for, I'm not sure, Mike, you can correct me, or Steve, you can correct me, if in the 90s they had short printed Topps cards, like in the base set they had 300 cards or 350, but were there short printed versions of players' cards? Because in the modern set they have short printed versions, which means it's a rare new photo of that player. And there's short
more something they took from they've been doing that with baseball with the photo variations for the last several years. That's newer to the, not super new to the hockey, but definitely new to the basketball side of things as far as top.
So those pictures I think are I mean, they're chases, but they're definitely going to be nicer photos. I've seen a couple of them that I'm definitely maybe buying down the road. So those are also something to look for in Topps.
That's interesting. Kyle mentioned that a lot of the photo variations are not quite the best. He uses the word sucks, but I don't know. To be honest, I haven't followed much of the singles, so I'm not sure. But I don't know, Mike, if you have a thought.
Nothing from the 90s, but the baseball releases of like Stadium Club photo variations. I mean, these are very highly collected cards because the photos are really, really top notch. And so that's hopefully something to look forward to, moving forward in future releases from Topps and some of their other brands. But I do have a card to share if we have time. It seems like it's like a hoops theme tonight, and so I'm going to share one from the 90s. This is from 1998-99 hoops. The story behind this particular card, and I'll flash it up here. Is a card that have been searching for the better part of almost 30 years, but 27 years or so. So this is 98-99 hoops starting five.
Awesome.
Story behind these is it's simply a parallel to the regular set, but an extremely hard one to find. A lot of the parallels from that 98-99 year, which was affected by the lockout of the NBA. I think there was just a lower demand for product and not a lot got ripped. Plus, it's a very, very subtle kind of stamping that gets placed on the card. And so these are real ghost cards for player collectors, and I've never seen another example of it. And as it just turned out, as I've mentioned in a couple other episodes, a really, really awesome collector reached out to me on Instagram and just simply asked me or told me, hey, I think my father has a Glenn Rice starting five from hoops. Just a random, just first time ever communicating. I'm just like, I responded like that's amazing, right? If you ever get it, and I think I even said if you get a chance to see his collection, you just send me a picture of it. I'd just love to see an image. And he did, and I asked if they were open to moving it, and back and forth with that, made a deal. Actually drove down. He was in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm up in Chicago, and because I wanted the card so bad, I'm like, I'll make it easy on you. I'll drive down there. I'll pick it up from you in person, cash deal. No post office hassles, no nothing. Left my house at 3 a.m. on a Friday. Got down there about 7.5, almost 8 hours later. Got the car, a few pleasantries. Met him. He was an awesome dude. Got right back in the car, headed back up north, and I was home by 7:30 that night. Well, I thought I was absolutely insane. But it's some of the things that we do, to kind of acquire a card that I didn't want to take any chances, and I wanted to make it as easy as possible on them because they were kind enough to sell it, and that took place over about a 3 weeks amount of time. So one of my favorite absolute cards in the collection at this point.
You are a little bit insane, but that's awesome. Congratulations. That's a great pickup.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't the worst day. Like, your adrenaline's kind of pumping as you're driving all that time.
A solid day's work.
Yeah. Hey, I could have actually gone to work that day, which I obviously did not, but took the day off to go down to Memphis.
And I think of in all seriousness, I mean, a card that means that much to you that I'm sure was not a cheap card by any means to acquire. the stress that would have been going dealing, trying to making sure the transaction goes through, and then if it delivered safely, and then confirm it's delivered safely. It's like if you can hop in your car and 7 hours is within your comfort zone, you take a day off and listen to an audiobook and go and meet some collectors. I jokingly, with the insane thing, but like that, I mean, that makes the experience that much cooler, and it saves you a couple days of just like going playing ping pong in your head about making sure everything goes well.
I've got a card right now at eBay authentication.
I'm sorry.
It's been at least 3 weeks, and this is a very serious card as well. That I'm just stalking the eBay site to see when this thing is. It did get delivered eventually to the PSA authentication hub, and it's been sitting there for over a week with no movement. So, it induces a bit of anxiety when you're waiting for a card like this that's pretty serious.
Yep.
So yeah, it takes the stress out of it for just to go get it in person.
To ease your concerns there, I've had 2, maybe 3 cards through the authentication process in the last 2 months, and I've complained to others online, and it seems like a week minimum of it just being stuck at the authentication hub is pretty par for the course right now. So I'd expect you're hearing something from them, hopefully by the end of the week, but a week is the minimum right now. That just gets hung up there.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that because I don't know, it was a raw card, so it probably has to go through a few extra steps. It wasn't graded, right? So yeah, hopefully within the next couple of weeks it arrives. We'll see.
All right, awesome. Good luck on that. Steve, I think this is a good time to transition. So you have another bit of mail to share.
Yeah, so Joey, Adam, Ryan, and I were talking offline, and one of the questions that came through last week that people want to discuss is how we use all the different sites. And I don't think we'll do like a series, on this, but I do think when we have some time to talk about things, talking about whether it be the auction houses or ComC or tonight CardHobby. So I got 2 cards, both 24-25 Panini cards, a pair of Boston Celtics champions. So I have wrong one. I've got I'm upside down. I cannot work with this mirror thing, but I've got a Sam Hauser silhouette out of 10, jumbo patch right there. It's a large piece of his number. Panini kind of did us dirty. There's a good chance this is finals game worn, but they didn't give us all the information we need to confirm that. But a finals logo man 101 from this set is for Hausers out there. And then I got a second card, which is a Drew Holiday. All the way. There we go. Panini 1-in-1 patch auto. So on card auto. Just a couple of cards. I like to pick up, I don't need a bunch of cards of Hauser or Drew, but I like to, especially where they won a championship with the team. I like to have at least one in my PC. Got both these off CardHobby. So I just thought I'd do a quick rundown. CardHobby is an Asian-based, basically eBay. You can do auctions on them. People can do buy it nows. You can send offers. A couple of years ago, they came up with a U.S. site, and I'm not trying to rub salt in your wound, Joey, but I think the first time you messaged me about CardHobby was after the fact. You found a very, very, very significant PC card that you had missed out on. That ended up going for cheap there. So the biggest barrier to CardHobby is the international shipping fees, which, nothing political behind the statement, is exponentially more expensive right now with import fees because of tariffs, right? So it's about twice as much to get cards in right now. And the language barrier. They have a US-based site, but everything is in, Mandarin. I'm assuming it's Mandarin. Maybe it's not, but they're in Chinese characters. So, it's a site where you can't search for very specific stuff, and Adam and I have talked about this. You got to search in sort of general terms, right? So, like, I'll search for just Crowder, and I've actually figured out what the characters are that spell out Crowder. But even with those, 3 characters, I still get a bunch of soccer cards and stuff. You search in general terms. You might search for Celtics flawless if you just want a couple flaws cards, or you might search for just a player's last name, or 2024 immaculate, and you're just going to have to filter through stuff. It's impossible to snipe there because of the time difference. So you got to sort of just put in your bid. And then again, I think standard shipping right now for international stuff through UPS, it used to be $35. I think it's gone up to $55 based on a shipment I just got. Plus you pay a couple different taxes and buyer's premiums. And then on a shipment I just got that was a purchase value of $180, I had to pay an extra $35 before UPS would drop it off my front door, which is an import fee, which is new, over the last couple of months. So you definitely have to learn the site. I learned it I had a very good friend in the hobby that was over in New Zealand, plus another friend that's stateside that used the tradition that the guy, my buddy Tim that's stateside, he was actually contacted by CardHobby to sort of be a beta tester of, what it would be like for a US buyer back in the day. And so I've had a lot of people help me with growing pins on the site, but when possible, there's some steals to be had. Like those houses I got for a good price. The Drew Holiday I paid like eBay comps for, but there's some stuff. I don't buy on their rare. What I normally do is if there's like a one-on-one Crowder on there, I'll buy that. And then over time, you can kind of fill up your inventory just like you would Comp C. So I'll just add other stuff to it to make that $55 shipping fee be for 20 cards and not just one card. But just thought I'd throw it out there. I mean, obviously, I can't go into depth about how I use it. And Adam, I don't know if you want to. I know you've used the US site just as long as I have. I don't know if you have anything you want to add to it, but just thought I'd give a quick overview.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I would say is just being kind of mindful of what you're spending. It's not like eBay when you bid $20, it's $20 all in. You're going to definitely have some more fees to accrue. The import fees, as you said, are new. What I try to do the best I can is be even more vague than what you're saying. Like if I'm looking for Celtics Flawless cards, I would just look up Flawless by itself and look through all the last auctions ending that day, or a player's like name. So like Giroux, for example, I wouldn't type in Holiday. I would just put Giroux because it's more unique. But anytime you get super specific on there, you end up getting nothing. So you kind of have to be as vague as humanly possible. And you can definitely find really good deals. I mean, the best days are definitely behind us with the way the fees and structuring things are there, amount of users, all of that. But for a while there, I was spending way too much time and money on CardHobby day in and day out. And there was so much stuff on there.
And when I say fees, and I agree with you, Adam, that was great, well said. No shame to CardHobby. I think as they've scaled up, they've just realized that in order to do business, like they've added, like I've done the math. It's a Massachusetts state sales tax or some sort of stateside sales tax that I have to pay. They charge you like about $2.50 USD to have the card shipped from the seller to their warehouse. So they've had to scale up, and they charge 5% buyer's premium. That's not astronomically high. I'm assuming that's like international credit card fees, right? So it's not like other than the import fees, which are a huge headache, the other ones are manageable. You just have to, unfortunately, a few people generally end up overpaying for a card or two or mistime their shipping and be like, oh, well, that's my learning curve. So no shame on CardHobby for the fees. I think they're very reasonable when you talk about international deals, but they are adding up over time.
So for someone who's less experienced with CardHobby, and like you said, Steve, I did miss out on that PC card. I was so bummed about, and it's not just that I missed out on it. I literally saw the auction 12 hours after it ended. I had no idea. I don't know what prompted me that night to go look on CardHobby, and I saw a bunch of cards from that set, and I was like, oh shoot, let me see what just ended or what's ended recently, and it ended that morning, and I was annoyed because, like you said, it went for pretty cheap. But for those that are less experienced with CardHobby, I think I just want to clarify, because I actually purchased my first card on CardHobby, maybe, what is it now? Maybe a month ago now. And so the fees that are stated on the actual listing are the shipping from the seller to the CardHobby warehouse, the buyer's premium, which was that 5%. And then the third one is the state tax. That's the Massachusetts one you were referencing. That's listed on the listing.
It's some sort of sales tax, but then when you go to checkout, there will be additional state taxes. So the $55 will be the shipping rate, and then there'll be another like tax fee that gets added to it. It's
when
not
you're
a ton.
Requesting a shipment.
Yep. So when you go to pay for the cost of shipping, there will be another tax fee. It's not a ton. I think for the 20 cards I had shipped to me, it was maybe $11, right? So it's not even $1 a card. But then when it comes stateside, you've got the import fees, which were, percentage wise pretty hefty this time.
Okay. So that state tax, when you're checking out for shipping, is different than the state tax that's listed that they say will be paid in their warehouse. So there's two state taxes. There's one Chinese state tax, and then a later state specific, US state specific tax. So that's a few things right there. And then that shipping fee. And then I don't think we've mentioned it yet. On top of what are we at now? 5 fees, I think. The 3 that are on the listing, the shipping from China over here, and then the additional tax over here, you have a 5% credit card fee, right? So I think I messaged you when I bought my first card. I was like, I feel like I'm getting shafted from them with like every step along the way, I'm being charged extra fees, extra fees, extra fees. And I don't know, like I can't say I'm super disappointed. I think like I got my card for a fair price. It definitely maybe was not a steal like I thought it was, but maybe that explains why I was like, oh, this is less than I've ever seen this card go. So
yeah, and I think part of it is the language barrier of the site being, not at all in English, because, if you were dealing with a seller or a company, like there's a seller that I've bought from a few times that's based over in France. Like through his website, he's got it based in English because we in this country don't know many other languages, right? And he's bilingual. So I can see the breakdown of like what is like a currency conversion fee, because going from USD to the euro, et cetera. So I can see a lot more of what the fees might be when I'm doing business on his like website store. Whereas I think the CardHobby, it's just they label everything as state tax. And I'm sure if you went through their, all of their documents and you were to translate, you'd be able to see what it all actually goes towards. But yeah, it does. You think you got a card? Oh, this card sold for $45 on eBay, and I just got it for 28. No, you got that for $50 by the time you actually have it in hand. So you do have to learn how to bid, conservatively on that site if you're going to use it. And what I'd recommend is maybe where you go on this, Joe, is I would not bid on a card on that site unless it's a card you have that I need this card feeling, and I might not be able to find it otherwise. Throw in a little bid so that it's in your account. And then reach out to people who've used the site and really talk about what those fee structures look like, so you don't end up, overpaying for yourself. But if you think you're interested in using the site at all, I would definitely download their US app and at least, set up an account and just get used to sort of navigating it, because it is a different setup.
oh yeah, that's all good stuff to know. And I guess as somebody who now only has one card in my inventory, so you mentioned, I think in our messages, that technically they say they will charge you if you keep your card in your inventory without shipping it for over 30 days, but you've never been charged for that. So do you feel pretty confident in saying I don't need to request that shipment right now?
Yeah, I haven't even seen that heads up in a while. Like it used to be when you logged in, it would say 30-day minimum. I haven't even seen that banner, and I don't know a single person that has had. I've had cards in there for 6 months and have not been charged anything extra on top of that. Maybe it's hidden as the state fee, and I'm just too dumb and I don't know it. But no, they have not. When they first started, it was going to be 30-day minimum, and I think if you did it requested within 30 days, their thought was they would just process your warehouse every 30 days and send you the cards or send you a bill for the shipping. But I think that's probably especially if they want to continue working with U.S. buyers. They don't want to be. There's enough roadblocks right now. I don't think they want to be adding that to it.
And then I think the last thing I wanted to ask, because now that I have that card, I want to try to not have to pay $55 in shipping simply for that card. So in terms of any potential additional cards that I add to and purchase and add to my inventory and my shipment, would then pretty much the shipping is taken care of, right? It's just a free shipping. You mentioned it might be based on weight, but I mean, if I add 2, 3, 4, 5 more cards, I don't think that's maybe a significant. So it's really just those other fees, but the shipping, that big lump shipping fee, that's really the biggest issue, is already embedded.
Yep, just the cost of sending a box of something from Asia to the United States. Yeah, and so whatever they can fit in there within their weight limit is basically covered within that 55. And even then, it's not like if you go over it because you got a couple of encased or graded cards, it doesn't go to 120. It goes up probably to like 65 or so. So it's incremental just based on the weight. And they're pretty transparent about that part of it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, thanks, because I've been definitely looking at cards and I'm like, all right, I want to bid on a card that's at CardHobby, especially now that I've already gotten one. I think it's opening me up to be more open to bidding on other ones. And I've been a little hesitant on certain cards because I'm like, I really don't feel like I know how much at all I'm going to be paying for this. So it's nice to know that at least for the most part, maybe other than additional of those state taxes when I request shipment, at least everything's listed there that I'm going to be paying for any additional cards. Does anyone have other thoughts, tips, questions for CardHobby related?
Steve, you mentioned the kind of the tariff payment, right? UPS. I had an experience recently. It was just an item from Canada. It was delivered, right? And I thought it was all done. And then in the mail, I received a charge from UPS to pay that tariff. Is that how it worked with CardHobby as well? Do you pay after you receive the product, or do they?
So, and I have, it's not like a professional account, but I have an account with UPS. So like everything that gets sent to my email address, I automatically get tracking tied to my address and my email address. So I don't know if that makes it different, Mike, however you guys set up the UPS, but I'll get an email with packages being delivered to you with the tracking, right? And it goes automatically to my Yahoo, and I get all the annoying, notifications of all that stuff. And then about 12 hours later, I'll get an email saying, giving me the option to prepay the fee. So I think they would deliver it and then also deliver an invoice to me. But through my account, I actually get the option to just prepay it, and then that saves me a hassle of even having to like wait for the UPS driver or sign anything. So, but that's when I had, and I've never. They also use DHL. I've never had to do the import. I haven't had a DHL delivery from them in a while, but the UPS I'm always able to prepay for.
And
I had
on
a
that,
related question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to ask real quick, Mike, on that Canadian shipment, because I've seen cards from Canada listed on eBay that I've hesitated to purchase because of potential import tariffs and fees. Was that a pretty significant fee, or was it reasonable?
It was $3.50.
That's
And I think
significant.
it really depends. So the item that I bought, it was about $115 or something like that, right? And it shipped, all good. And but on the invoice, the seller had placed the dollar value of what was in the box of like $40 or $50 or something like that. He didn't put the actual sale price from eBay. I never asked him to do that, right? He just did it on his own. So whatever, and then UPS breaks it down. I'm not sure, Steve, if you've seen the same thing, but when I looked at the breakdown, there's a charge and a fee and a this, and then you get like a discount of some sort through UPS. I don't know what that means, but anyway, it came down to hey, go to the website, pay the $3.50, and you're good. So I don't know if it would have been more had you put down. Obviously, it would have been more if you put down the true value of the purchase of the $115. But yeah, I think it's kind of scary, and I'm not sure how this is impacting eBay sales. But when you click on an item in eBay and it's from a Canadian seller, it puts the big red banner, on the top that warns you that there could be additional tariff duties due, that there will be additional duties due if the seller is not adding that onto the cost, which they don't. So yeah, it was $3.50, but I've also read things where they will charge like a $35 just standard processing fee. That did not occur. So I don't know. Like I'm not a subject matter expert
So
in it.
just a crapshoot, pretty much.
Yeah, I just did it the one time, and I was preparing for the worst, right? But it seems like it worked out okay.
Sorry, Tim, you were going to ask.
Yeah, so kind of related to international shipping right now. I'm looking for a card of a player who plays in the KBL League in Korea. I'm wondering if anyone has any websites, or I haven't found it on eBay. I don't know if it's that new of a card, but it just popped up. But I've only found it in one place called globalbunjang.com. I'm wondering if anyone's familiar with that, or if they have any connections in Korea where I can go through to find this card.
I don't. I wonder if Mercari there's another website that has some international connections called Buyee, which is Buyee, that I've used for success. And obviously, I know Korea and Japan are not the same thing, but I do wonder if Yahoo Japan, which has a whole like eBay style auction to their site. So I have those might be dead ends, Tim, but I would try Buyee, Mercari, and Yahoo Japan.
I would also look at maybe other listings on that site, because what I had run into, I think I'd seen cards that I wanted on eBay that I felt were very overpriced, so I didn't end up purchasing them. But then I somehow in a Google search came across them on some shady looking website that I'd looked up, and apparently there's some scam websites where they take listings from eBay, put them on their sites for super cheap, and then they just steal your credit card info or whatever, take your money or
Yeah,
whatever.
it seems a little suspect, this one. They're like, they want me to sign up and give them my email and my password and everything like that. Like, why do I got to sign up for this? Like, just can I buy the card?
Yeah.
You know, so, so I'm wondering if anyone knew anybody, but it's all right.
What did you say the name was of the site?
Global Bunjang. I mean, I did the same thing as you, Google search, like, where is this card? And this one popped up, and this guy hasn't had a card made in like 8 years. So I see the KBL finally makes them. I'm like, oh, I need to get this, but it's only on one website. So I don't
Interesting.
know.
All right. Well, I feel like that was a cool little discussion of CardHobby and some of the international stuff. Obviously, I don't know if you guys would disagree. I don't know if like 4 minutes is enough to do 48 Bowman its service and do it justice. So maybe that should be something we save for another time.
We could do whatever. Yeah, that's fine. We could do it next week or.
Yeah.
The Mikan that you were
Sorry,
talking about looks great. 48 Bowman.
Yeah. It does. Yeah. I'm super excited to talk about it for sure. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, it's yours.
Whoa.
Yep.
Oh, wow. I also
That's
keep my 48 George Mikan on me handy.
No, I told Adam Newer that was his post that I shared. I agree, Joe. I know I feel bad because Adam probably prepared a few things, but 48 Bone, and especially if you don't know much about Joe, it's a fun set to talk about. There's some unique aspects to it as far as the print quality of it and the teams that are associated with it. It's pre NBA, so I think we can put that on back burner for next year. I mean, yeah, next week. My brain is fried this week. It's been a long week.
Adam, can I see the centering on that? Like, that looks to be at worst 60-40. Is that at worst?
Yeah, I would say at worst you're probably pretty right there.
Maybe that's beautiful.
that's
The
Look at
coloring
color
on it's
too.
awesome too.
Yeah, I mean the numerical grade on it isn't crazy high. It's only a 3, but it's one of those buy the card, not the label type of situation. There isn't any creasing or anything.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is there anything that would make that a 3? Like, it's really well centered. I know the corners aren't perfect, but they look pretty good.
For
There's
48,
nothing-
it looks pretty damn good, yeah.
That's the biggest thing. The corners are pretty well rounded, but for me, the centering and color was more valuable than anything else.
Yeah, that is beautiful. Yeah, I look forward to talking about it for sure. For one of the, I think I'd mentioned in the past that I watch a lot of the vintage baseball stuff. What they call, a lot of them call those honest corners, right? Like if you get a card that's now 80 years old nearly, and they're nice, sharp, pointy corners, that something's a little fishy there.
Yeah.
Especially because the cardboard is just so soft. I mean, if you've ever held one of those cards that's raw, I mean, it just the texture, they're just such soft material that, yeah, good to the people that somehow kept them pristine or found them back in the day. Because a vintage card, you go from a 3 to a 4, and you can be talking thousands of dollars in difference in price. So,
And that's one of the weird examples too, where more people I feel like on that card or cards of that caliber, I guess you would say, care about the look rather than the grade. Because like an authentic just sold altered copy for like $11,000. Then a 4 that did not look good just sold for like $7,000. So the value proposition of them is completely different based on how they look rather than the grade itself.
yeah.
Obviously, if you get a 7 or an 8, the grade's going to carry the weight. But when you're talking in that reasonable realm, the appearance of it makes a big difference.
Yeah, those eye, like the eye appeal of the card is so big with those cards that old. Absolutely. Cool. Does anyone have anything to round us out kind of before we go? Any thoughts on anything?
Russell Westbrook looks pretty good in Sacramento.
It's probably about the only thing.
I got him on. I haven't watched a single. I'm not watching a Kings game, Joey, but I got him on my fantasy team as an injury filler, and he's got to be some points. So, I guess he's looking pretty good.
That's a good time. 2 starters or two big rotation players injured right now, and the whole team sucks. So it's good. Yeah, they just have this way of just sucking at everything. Like even they were in the third quarter against the Thunder a couple days ago, were up by double digits, and of course like squander it and they lose pretty badly. And it's like, it's one thing if you have a team that's playing well or at least competitively, but they're just like embarrassingly lose leads and embarrassingly play basketball. So I don't know.
Those cars are going to look nice though.
Yes, I know. I am excited for some of those Westbrook Kings cards. We'll see.
If I can leave this podcast with one note, if anyone has any higher end Kevin Durant, OKC, or Golden State cards, I'm looking for those. Please message me on Instagram.
All right, there you go. That's Fork Beard's basketball cards on Instagram. Hit him up with those high end Kevin Durant cards. And on that note, I hope you all have a great week. Thanks everyone for hanging out and chatting and streaming and talking. And we will see you guys all next week.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.